Hey everybody, it's Pastor Bob, and I want to welcome you to this edition of CF Backstage, where we're looking at some of the stuff that I wasn't able to get to in our Revelation study, but I still have a passion to share with you. And so we've created these little vignettes, these little 5-6 minute messages to be able to share with you some things that I wasn't able to get to, but is still really important in understanding this important book of Revelation. And we've been looking at the 7 churches in Revelation, but specifically we've been talking about the titles that Jesus gives of himself in the book of Revelation and in these 7 churches. Because the titles that Jesus gives of himself when he addresses the church aren't just random titles. Instead, what he does is he takes these attributes that John writes about Jesus in chapter 1 of Revelation, and he transfers them he takes one point and then he puts them in the introduction of this letter that he writes. Well, why? Because the very thing that he describes himself as is the very issue that he's going to be speaking to this church about. In fact, in chapter 3, and to the church at Philadelphia, the church that he has nothing bad to say, he says this. He says, to the angel of the church in Philadelphia write, these things says he who is holy, he who is true, he who has the key of David, he who opens and no one shuts, and shuts and no one opens. And so he quotes this passage out of the book of Isaiah, and referring to what? Referring to this door, because he mentions in the letter that there's a door that he's going to open for this church to escape the tribulation period. And he says, there's this door that I'm opening, and I open doors that no one can shut. I shut doors that no one can open. You say, well, are you sure? That's why he says, this one says, he who's holy, he who's true. Holy is a word that simply means separated. Separated for a specific purpose. And that's the very thing that God does for this church, is that he separates them for the purpose of taking them out of the tribulation period, taking them to heaven to not have to be able to escape all of that. And so he, even in the very title that he gives of himself in this letter, he's speaking to them concerning the issue that he wants to talk to them about. In the last church, the church at Laodicea, where he doesn't have very much good to say, he says this to the angel of the church of the Laodiceans, right, these things says the Amen, the faithful and true witness, the beginning of the creation of God. Now, why would he say it like that? Why would he say it's the Amen, the faithful and true witness, the beginning of the creation of God? There's this idea that it's like Jesus is the real thing. He's the one that's first. He's the one that's most important. It's because the very issue here that he's talking about in this church is that they thought they were the big deal. They thought they were to be first. They thought, well, come on, we're rich. Come on, we've got everything that we need. And what Jesus would say in the church is, you're not rich. You're poor, miserable, wretched, blind, naked. I mean, you're not doing well. Instead, you think you're rich, but I'm counseling you to buy gold from me that's been refined in the fire. And have white garment. I mean, there's this whole thing that he says, but what it really boils down to is he uses this title to say to them, listen, I'm the real thing. The very thing you've been looking for, this prominence or status or whatever the case, the person who has the prominence and has the status is me, Jesus would say. Why? Because I'm the beginning of the creation of God. Because I'm the faithful and true witness. I am the Amen. I'm the so be it. I'm the exclamation point on every prayer, the exclamation point on every statement that's true and that's right and that's good. Well, I hope this has been helpful to you. And I just want to encourage you, if you haven't seen every episode, go back and review them and take some notes. In fact, why don't you send them to a friend if you think it would be helpful to them. You can just copy this link, forward this link, youtube.com/CF Backstage. That'll take them there. Or you can send them to all the Revelation messages that we have on our website at calvarywired.com. So I encourage you to head over there. If you've missed any of our studies, download them. They're all free, and you can download them. I hope they help you in your walk with God and enrich you as you read and learn the Scriptures. God bless you, and we'll see you next time.